Many people who are not well informed about atheism like to turn atheists into scapegoats for the political suppressions of religious beliefs and religious demonstrations that have been occurring in Western societies recently. The idea that atheists seek to politically suppress anybody's freedom of religious belief and worship, however, is completely false. It is not only not in line with what atheists actually believe, but even if atheists wanted to politically suppress anybody's freedom of religion, they would not be able to do so. Statistics compiled in 2005 show that the combined number of atheists, agnostics, and non-believers in God in the United States ranges from 3% to 9% of the population. When explicit atheists are considered alone, this percentage is likely to be at the lower end of this range. The columnist Alan Karuba writes, "As best as can be determined, only 3% of Americans are atheists. What matters most to them is their personal integrity. They are, almost by definition, the least authoritarian of groups you can find, and the least likely to attempt to convert someone to their views." Now, atheists are a demographically insignificant minority, and do not have the political power to suppress anybody's religious beliefs even if they wanted to. Furthermore, virtually no prominent politicians in the United States are known to be atheists, perhaps with one or two exceptions, and this fact indicates how little political influence atheists actually have. So, for all religious conservatives who believe that the atheists are responsible for the infringement of their religious freedoms, I would advise them to think again. Because where are these phantom atheist politicians and phantom atheist constituencies that are imposing these restrictions? I don't see them. I'm not aware of them, and I'm certainly not one of them. My personal belief is that one should be permitted to hold any belief and to practice the implications of that belief, provided that this belief does not impose coercive harms on other human beings. So, in the words of the great Voltaire, I may disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it, and that includes belief in any kind of deity, even if I consider that deity to be non-existent, even if I consider the moral code that is based on that deity to be mistaken in many respects. Any attempts to infringe upon the religious views and practices of some Americans are currently made by other individuals who claim to be religious, and often of the same religion as those whose rights they seek to infringe. Indeed, much of the opposition to religious expression on government and on private property stems from those who endeavor to suppress speech, ceremonies, and displays by some religious groups for fear of, quote, offending other religious groups. So it is not atheism that is responsible for suppressions of public religious demonstrations, rather it is political correctness. The idea that no kinds of behaviors ought to be permitted, even on private property, that could remotely offend the sensibilities of some religious group or some constituency. And this kind of ideology is antithetical to human liberty. It is antithetical to freedom of speech. It is antithetical to freedom of conscience. And I believe that many conscientious atheists who recognize the value of liberty will find allies in religious conservatives who seek to protect their religious freedoms. And therefore, I urge the religious conservatives not to make scapegoats out of people who could be genuinely helpful to the very endeavors that they're trying to accomplish.